that's the Glory League live scene. Whoops, I'm clicking on the wrong one. What up, James? How's it going, buddy? Give me one moment here. I gotta resituate, refixate here. There we go. For some reason, YouTube changes some of the settings on my stream every time I go live as well, depending on what, like if I copy a title over from my previous stream, that kind of a thing, or if I'm doing like a net new. One moment. Un momento. Un momento. What's up, Ahsoka? How's it going? Hope you are doing well. What is this? How's everyone doing this afternoon, this evening? I guess kind of depends on where you are, what you're up to, where you've been. Oh, man. It has been a day. It has been a day. It's a good match this morning. I'm just logged in. Hold on, I had this button following your Discord channel. You're doing a cool person. Hey. I appreciate that. Okay. Can I join here with the Horde Defense? Who is this? I don't know who that is. Who that be? Who that is? Who that be? And who that is? How did MXC do this time in AR? I don't know. Did we fight against MXC in AR? Oh, no. MXC was in G1, weren't they? I'm not too sure. I actually didn't really pay attention to the outcome of AR. I was busy playing War Dogs all weekend. I'll be honest. Hey, baby. Can you give me a huge favor? Could you fill this for me? If I gave it to you? Huh? Would you be able to do that for me? Oh, thank you so much, dude. You're the best. Here, I'll open the top for you. If you could do that for me, that would be awesome. I totally forgot to do that before I went live on my live stream. It's just ice in there. Could you put water for me? That would be awesome. Thank you so much, baby. You're the best. Yeah, I'm not too sure. Didn't MXC win? I thought that was maybe the last time I checked, but were there any like last minute pushes or something? I'm not too certain. Give it a highest level ever. I don't know. Do we generally beat it? I don't remember. ARG, the numbers are still there. The numbers? The numbers for what? They alone took both legions. SSI was easy, bet too. Yeah, it makes sense. Wasn't MXU like a mega merger? Didn't they have like NM49 and some other groups with them as well during AR, I thought? Could be wrong. I'll be honest, like I said, I didn't really pay much attention to it. We had a really eventful G6 ourselves, like straight away from day one, all the way through when Middle opened. And then after that, by the time like Middle was like done or like determined, I had already started playing War Dogs, and so that was a bit preoccupado. How much time did I put into that actually this weekend? 22 hours, almost 23, 22.8. 22.8 hours on War Dogs over the weekend. So, you could say I enjoyed my time there. Your numbers on screen, Beast, Heroes, campaign and stuff. The numbers are still there. Your numbers on your screen, Beast. Oh, like the red numbers. I should probably do that, huh? Oh, thank you, baby. You are the best. Thank you so much. Thank you. What the? Hey, get out of here. You're silly. Yeah. Aren't you going to your swimming thing tonight? Your school's having the swim thing tonight. I think Mom's taking you. I got some work stuff I gotta do a little bit later I'm waiting on, so I don't think I'm going tonight. What, baby? Yeah, I think she might be on her last break. You can go double check. 2 streams in one day must be in heaven. No. I'm waiting on some stuff with work, but the individual that I'm waiting for this stuff from, they had to go take care of like a real life commitment, and they'll be back on later, so. Pop some time. We're gonna just jump on for a bit. What's up, Dimitri? How's it going? Howdy, howdy. Why do I have 74 construction? 74 construction? What are you talking about? Was this RuneScape? 74 construction. Oh, is that this one? Oh, my storage box. Oh, yeah, I guess I do have a bunch of my storage box, huh? Oh, yeah, all the statues, I guess. There you go. I don't have 74 construction anymore. I feel like an exclusive member. Each and every one of you are exclusive members. Doomsday, does IGG dive us the exact calculation? What is this? Oh, they must be talking. Sorry, I got a comment on one of my videos, and this person is asking if basic attack increases skill damage and all that. Oops. I'm going to respond to that real quick before I reply to you guys. Otherwise, I'm going to forget because I already clicked on the notification. They don't give the exact number, and a lot of that isn't static. It's dynamic, because if you are facing a weak opponent, your multipliers are more effective, while if you are fighting a tougher opponent with more defense / damage reduction, those multipliers, while still effective, will net less results. And no, they don't give data. We have to get the data ourselves through testing and, oops, if I could spell, testing and testing and data parsing. I think that's how we'll word it. Sorry about that. Responding to a comment that I opened up on my phone, and I'm one of those people. I have ADHD, right? So I'm someone that, like, if I look at my phone right now, I don't know about you guys, maybe this is just me, you tell me. I get told all the time that it's insane, so I'm going to assume I might be one of the outside parties here. But for example, on my phone, for phone calls, I have 95 missed calls or voicemails sitting there in the notification, like the little red 95 in the corner. For text messages, I have 1,114. And for emails, I have 74,153. I have 8 from Facebook Messenger, which I don't even have Facebook anymore. 6 on Instagram, 120 on TikTok, 15 on X or Twitter, 2 on Snapchat. So I'm one of those people that's like, I see a notification, I read it in my notification bar, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get to that later. And then I don't, because I've already in my head like mentally read it and then responded to it in my head, and then I have to come up with an apology letter like a week later to be like, hey, I totally thought I responded to this. And so maybe that's just a me thing. I don't quite know. Why do they keep giving us these stupid statues? I don't know. I don't use them. I ran out of space of places to put them. Does it go from like newest to oldest? Like if I scroll all the way down here, will I see the oldest ones that I acquired? Yeah, it must be, because these are like the heart ones, and this is when the rabbit skin came out. Yeah, kind of. That gives me ADHD. Okay, yeah. So I am medicated for ADHD. So it is a real thing. I'm not just saying that. It is interesting because my girlfriend has ADHD too, and so my kid is completely screwed in that category, but it makes our relationship very interesting because we forget stuff all the time and then we laugh about it after the fact. But it also makes it where we agree on a lot of things too, and we kind of get a better understanding of how each other's like thought processes are. and why we are the way that we are when we both have something. So it is kind of nice to have that dynamic. Have you tried replying as you get the notification? See, that just sounds complicated, because to me it's like it's hard for me to get a notification, interrupt the train of thought or thought process that I have in that moment to do something, because then I automatically forget what I was thinking of prior to getting the notification, or I have a fear of forgetting that. So I like mentally take note of the notification and then continue what I was doing, even if I was doing nothing at all but doom scrolling. Which is also why a lot of you were like, hey, do you hate me because you don't respond to my message? And then I feel bad, and I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm sure you guys have gotten this message from me. I know I just said this like twice a day. Hey, I'm sorry about missing this message. I am a terrible person. Here's your response. So if you've ever sent me a message in game and I didn't respond, I promise it is not personal. Just send me another one and I will try to get to that one. And if I don't respond to that one, send another one. Like, be annoying about it, because I promise it's not actually annoying me. You're actually just helping me. There are instances where, yes, I do get busy and that kind of thing. I am human, but my mental work's a little odd. Yep. Or you type out the message and forget to send it, and then you're asking why they haven't responded, and you realize you never sent it in the first place. I literally had that happen with someone like last week. I had a longtime friend sent me a bunch of videos on TikTok or Instagram or something, and then I watched them all. I laughed, and then in my head I responded, but I didn't. And then she messaged me. She was like, "Hey, do you hate me?" And I'm like, "No, what do you mean? I'm laughing at all the videos you sent me." She's just like, "You never responded." And I'm like, oh, my bad. He said it sounds complicated. Hey, I'm just being honest. I mean, this is honesty hour. You can be honest here. You can tell me I'm wrong too. I don't mind. You can be like, Z, you are the weirdest person I've ever met in life, and I won't say, I won't deny it. Let me check something real quick. You guys have been absolutely killing it on my content, haven't you? I feel really bad for not being able to be so consistent these days. Oh shit. We're already like halfway to 4,500 from 4,400, and I just hit 4,400 subscribers on YouTube. You guys are killing it. Holy freaking moly. Can I show you guys something? Like, I hope you guys understand that if I show you something, this is not coming from a place of like negativity or boasting or anything like that, right? Like, I hope you guys would understand that, like, I would never do that. I'd hope and try to be humble, you know what I mean? This has just been genuinely shocking to me. I think I owe a big thank you to IGG for this, actually. But I do want to show you something. So this is my live subscriber count, right? Let me remove this overlay. Like, this is how my like authentic channel growth looks like. You know, just kind of like I'll like post a video, it'll stagnate. If I don't post a video, it'll go up, right? It just goes up. And then the freaking Glory League tournaments came out, and you guys have, like, this is 90 days. You guys have just, like, we were at 3,997 on August 4th, and it is August 25th. You guys have just killed it on the channel. Like, this is insane to me. This flattened out because I couldn't stream any of the Glory League matches and wasn't able to upload anything. But between, like, the Cassius videos, the Odyssey videos, and the Glory League, man, like, you guys have just... Holy moly, man. And again, I hope nobody takes this and goes, oh, Z is bragging or something. No, that's not what I'm doing at all. It just, I'm sure my girlfriend gets annoyed that I'm in her ear about it, because I'm like, dude, I don't understand why why y'all... I don't know, I've just been killing it so much. To me, I'm just putting out content because I need to live stream a tournament and I need to put a video out on questions I get, but you guys are awesome, man. All of this and still on a big streak in Pirate King. Pirate King, Pirate King, Pirate King. What? We have a streak on Pirate King? What are you talking about? What's up, Flash? I'm doing good, man. How are you? Did Little Z get her ice cream? No, not yet. She got out of school. I was working. I got off of work. I don't want to take her to get ice cream without her mom because I like doing stuff with her while her mom is there. I don't know. To me, it makes the moments, even the small moments, more enjoyable when it can be like us together. I have my moments with the little one. She has her moments with the little one. Whatever, you know, things that we do. But if there's an opportunity to have it with all of us, I would rather do that. That's just kind of the way I feel, I guess. And so I've been kind of waiting for her mom to get off work, but she gets off work at 5:30, and then tonight the little one has like a back to school type event that they're doing or whatever, so her mom will be taking her to that. So I look like Warden in Delta Force. I'll take that. That's because you analyze things well, and people appreciate it. Well, I appreciate it too. No, don't get me wrong. Like, I understand that there's like a need there and stuff like that. But you know, like once you kind of get used to a certain level of growth on the channel and like speed of growth on the channel, to have it just compound so fast on just very minimal things, it means a lot because, you know, I try to put, you know, time, heart, effort. You can call it blood, sweat, and tears, but, you know, time, heart, and effort into the content that I make. I'm sure, like, if you've seen, like, the YouTube channel trailer and stuff like that I've made a lot of new, like, graphics for the channel and stuff. You know, like, I spend genuine time on this stuff. And so it means a lot to see you guys responding well to it, I guess is the best way for me to put it. And I'm humbly thankful for that. You look like Warden at Delta Force. That one gets me still. But yes, I will take the little one to get her ice cream. I would love to do that tonight, but I don't know how long her event goes on tonight. So I can't promise it'll be tonight. I don't want to do it too late because she gets up at the same time I do actually now to go to school. So whether it's a tomorrow thing, this weekend for sure it'll be this weekend if it's not like on a weekday. But she's one of those people that she even smells sugar, and she'll be off the walls for hours. So we'll come to a compromise on that if we do it on the weekday. Top Alliance kills, brother. Don't think I've not seen FIB in the top 10 for a long time. Are we actually? Alliance kills. Yeah, no, I was gonna say I thought we're like in the 20s. We're usually bouncing between like 22, I guess, but usually I think the last time I checked we were like 24 to 28, somewhere in here. And it kind of bounces depending on if we're all in the Alliance. Like sometimes MSR plays in Prim, sometimes Chase will play in a different alliance, sometimes CHPK will play in a different alliance, sometimes Tandav is here. So we kind of bounce around. By the way, totally heard the notification 2 minutes ago, but 28 Rice, I appreciate the subscription on YouTube. Don't think I didn't hear that notification. Like I said, I just kind of have a mental thought process train I have to get through first. But I appreciate it, 28 Rice. Thank you so much, by the way. Hey Z, how's your progress on the new infantry set? It's going good. I have probably spent a little over 2,000 hones chasing this last hone right here, and I thought that maybe I was just getting the shit end of the stick. But I'm actually kind of persuaded that when you get to that last hone, IGG like lowers your probability. I'm not sitting here saying that's true, but I am persuaded just from personal experience that is true, that they lower the probability of you getting the last hone. Tandav said that he spent 2,800 hones just trying to get the last rare hone of the 6-piece set himself. I also heard it from other whales that they had the similar experiences. They didn't give me numerical value, but when they asked the same thing, like, hey, how's your set going? And I had told them, like, oh yeah, I had the exact same thing. On the last rare hone on the 6-piece set, it took me forever to get it. So I'm starting to feel like I'm not the only one, but it is the last one that I am missing. And I think that when I get that, that'll push me to 2.89, I think the math, or 7.89, sorry. 7.899. It'll be like right on the cusp of 7.9 for strength. And I can't really get higher than that unless I swap out this block or like push this damage higher, or of course get the merit devices, which I'd have to play in Apex more consistently, but I kind of just go wherever the Alliance wants to be. So it's there, it's working, but hello, Legend. Always love the content. Hey, Martin, appreciate that. I am here. I appreciate you being here. And I appreciate the kind words, Martin. Thank you so much. Oh, for events. I see what you mean. Pirate King for events. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, we're killers, brother. Like, that's through and through. Doesn't matter what bracket you put us in. We're just here to fight and have fun. And I'm thankful to be around like-minded individuals like that. 2000 made my heart skip. Thought it was cat. No, 2000 hones. Well, hello, Chill Vibes. There you are. I've been searching for you. You've been searching. I'm here to supply. If you have a need, I will try to meet it. Within boundaries. Let me emphasize that. Within boundaries. Chill Vibes. I'll hand it out like I'm Oprah Winfrey. You can call me the Oprah Winfrey of Chill Vibes if you want. You get some chill vibes. You get some chill vibes. What's your thoughts on the new update? Okay. I'm glad someone brought that up. I'm torn, right? I've been playing this game since October of 2022. So I have to give a little bit of context there. I have seen the game at its all-time highs, and I know it's all-time. When I say all-time highs, I am talking from a personal standpoint, right? Everybody can have their consensus and thoughts on a game, but I think that everybody's feelings towards the game, or feelings towards anything, are valid, right? I think that everybody can love the game and you can hate it and you're still valid for having those feelings towards it, right? You should be able to have your own interpretation of something. To me, the peak of the game was when we had Dark Seal going on. You had PvP points that affected your ability to, score high in TC and stuff. And I know not everyone's going to agree with that, because whales could score high in TC through kills in Dark Seal and lower players couldn't. But I don't really see how that's any different than today, where they're just swiping their card anyways to outperform players, no matter how much you save. But again, totally open to opinions on that. But to me, yeah, I liked having other forms of impact that you could do to get points for TC. I liked Dark Seal. I liked the simplicity before. I'm one of those people that when it comes to games, or really a lot of things in life, I find the beauty of simplicity in things. I think that there are some things that are better as they get more complex if you do it in the right way. But a lot of that is only built if you have a solid base foundation to build upon. We're adding more complexity, more content, and those types of things to enhance that experience is a positive thing. But if you trade simplicity and experience for more complexity and more features, and it doesn't improve the overall experience, then I think you're starting to move in the wrong direction. And that's where I run into a crossroad with how I feel on a lot of these updates. I will personally say that just from like a personal standpoint, one of the things that gripes me and that irks me and that I have an issue with is that I still have a collab event here on my screen as a button, and I'm already being told that there is another one coming in the next update in a few days, or that will be there immediately after. And this is now the third collab event back to back to back where that's the case. Why? Because collab events require players, if you want to complete them, get the full rewards, all those types of things, to spend copious amounts of money in order to complete them. There's no way to reap all the benefits, get all the rewards, and those types of things from a collab event, even though the things that they provide to your account are exclusive, whether it be exclusive armaments, exclusive hero skins, even non-exclusive things, but things that'll move your account forward, right? Like if you go into the store, for example, any of these items in here would move a player's account at any level forward leaps and bounds, even if it's only 1 or 2 stars in OC chips or something like that, right? All of these things can help progress an account, whether it's the exclusive items or non-exclusive items. But the fact that you're not going to be able to obtain even just the exclusive items without a level of spend is a tough pill to swallow. It is a gacha game, I understand that, but I think that the hard part becomes when these exclusive events are so frequent that you lose the identity of the game and the uniqueness of these events. Because then it goes from, hey, this is a really cool collab event that we have for, say, you know, let's just pull up one example. Where's Bronte? For example, Pacific Rim, that was a cool collab event. The concept of having Pacific Rim tied with Doomsday and like how that whole field was cool. And you waited a long time between the May event and that one and that kind of a thing. But now they're so frequent and back to back to back that exclusivity or exclusivity, however you want to say that word. Sorry, I'm tripping on my words here, but basically like that genuine feeling or the uniqueness of that event and what it brings to the game and the theme of the game and that kind of a thing, you lose it because it's no longer an emphasis on that. It's just an emphasis on the fact that this is just a new event with a spend factor coming out to the game. I think that you should, since it's a gacha game, be able to spend money to obtain all the rewards and all those things faster, hence the sense of a gacha. But I think that exclusivity shouldn't be removed or unobtainable to an end user or a player or a consumer that is willing to grind the time and stuff necessary to obtain that within the event. Because then that means that, one, your event is too short for them to be able to grind it out, and two, that means that you're just focusing on the top end of your consumer base, which is that small percent that can warrant spending that level of spend in order to obtain everything. So I like the idea of collab events and that kind of thing. I just don't like this frequentness of collab events with very short durations that force you to say, hey, you have a small window of time to pull your credit card out to get the benefits. Otherwise, that's it. You'll never be able to obtain this again. And I just completely went on a rant without reading chat for like 10 minutes. So let me backtrack here. Let me scroll up. Is Hone challenge this week? I'm not too sure. Did I also get the vehicle? I did get the vehicle. I hope it is. I got my section 9s to hone. Yeah, new update. What is the go with the new armaments update? I can't talk on the new update because it's not out yet. I'm not one of those people that like to speculate on things. I speculate and I theory craft within our community Discord, but I don't put that out as videos. I think that people turn to videos to look for the answer. And especially like they'll look for those videos even after the event starts. And so if I'm putting out videos on a channel whose basis is based around facts and data, and I'm putting out videos of content that it is built on assumptions, then that kind of contradicts itself. So I created a space within the community Discord where people can bring those theory craftings and ideas, and we talk about that there, but I don't have to put it out as videos, so then a new player or someone that's looking for information doesn't turn to a video based on assumptions and thoughts when they're used to getting facts and data and knowledge from my videos. You know what I mean? Hopefully that makes sense. That is a lot of hones for the last slot. It is. Z, if you're still on in an hour, I'll be back for the chill vibes too. Yeah, no, chill vibes are here. Fetty is chill vibes. Fetty is chill vibes. What's up, Birdman? Game does really need new events at this point. I'd happily take Jungle Crisis back just for some variety. Exactly my point. At the time, everybody was like, hey, this Jungle Crisis event doesn't fit the overall theme, style, and gameplay style of this game. So they took it out. But then since then, they've just non-stop repeated bringing out content that did the same thing without the actual play factor of an event, and with you don't get like the free rewards and all that stuff that you were getting in that event anyways. So they took something out, they released something, took it out based on the user feedback of poor experience, and then proceeded to release 4 or 5 other things that gave us the same poor experience without the actual event and gameplay. So it was weird. Cassius and Boyd Garrison looked good when TLM was defending against their outpost. What do you think about it? Is it going to be the game changer for infantry setup? I enjoy Cassius Boyd. I actually enjoy Cassius and Stella. I ran both in AR, in IR, in off limits. I enjoy it a lot. I think it works well. I think that Cassius Boyd works better on single rally garrisons, And I think that Cassius Stella actually thrives in anti-swarm and multi-rally, funny enough. But I also think that that depends on your setup. To be honest, with the TC kills, I'd rather that, as you can stop them getting kills by just not fighting them. You can't stop them from swiping their credit card. Yeah, that is a good point as well, Jelly. I didn't really think of that. This is not the collab event they should have been like the Aaron and Marco one. I agree, because aren't they only bringing out a hero skin on this one? They're not even bringing out a new infantry hero. What's up, Baghead? How's it going, my man? Good evening, Z. What's up, Kane? Good evening to yourself. I'm sad it's not a collab hero. I skipped both infantry heroes. I didn't think that the frags to heroes would improve my lineup, and now I have 1k gold frags, which I don't know what to do with. That is a good point. I know that there's a lot of frustration. A lot of people have been waiting for a new infantry collab hero since we had Aaron, right? Aaron was the last collab hero as Rider. So we are kind of past due for that. They teased it. And then we got Section 9, which threw everybody for a loop. Then everybody thought that the Odyssey event was going to be it. And then they threw us for a loop by getting a Boyd skin. And then so everyone assumed that it had to be the next event. And now it seems like we're getting a skin, if I recall. So that can be frustrating. What's up, Pokemon? How's it going? How's your range set coming along? Is it ready to be used as a second garrison? I mean, the set itself is fine. It could be used, but the rest of my account doesn't really warrant it. So, like, for example, my infantry one has 15 or 16.5 damage reduction, almost 16% damage, but my ranged one has 59% attack and only 3% damage, so it doesn't have like that damage reduction, all that kind of stuff. So this is very warranted towards, say, like a counter rally or like offensive field play, and I don't really have like a second beast set up for it yet. I'm still working on getting my first Dirge Wing up, and then I'll have a second Pangolin where I can run Dirge Wing plus, hopefully soon, an OC set Gaia Deer, and then Pango plus Pluto on a second garrison. So eventually, but it's way down the road. I did get all white parts in the infantry TC, but yeah, it's just other pieces are missing other than just raw armament might. What's up, Stitch? How's it going, my man? Z's Discord is the best. If you're not a member, join it for a great discussion. Really great community for asking questions. I appreciate that, Birdman. I try to keep it an open forum area. We have an area where you can just general talk. You can talk anything Doomsday or not Doomsday related. But generally 90% of the time, even for the general chat, it is Doomsday related. We mostly talk about, you know, updates or feedback or events going on. People share not rewards, but reports, from like their IRs, ARs. We do bracket reviews, those types of things on there and stuff. So it's just very generalized talk. But then there's also another channel next to that is strictly game strategy discussion. Or what do we call the channel? We call it a game guidance discussion. And then from there, anything that's talked about that everybody highlights as saying like, hey, this is important for everybody, we move it up to a pinned tips for all players channel, where then you can access that information anytime. Makes it a little bit easier to kind of centralize what you're looking for. So you can go to like the pinned tips channel and get like a bunch of generalized information. So like we'll have like March setups and breakdowns of how different components and stuff like that of the game works. But then if you want to just talk like, hey, here's my lineup, what should I do with it? What should I focus on next? What do you think about this and that? Like that goes into the game guidance discussion. And then if you want to talk anything outside of like account building and account development or whatever, then it goes into like the general chat. So it's kind of naturally taken that approach based on the way that people have talked in there, and so it's been kind of cool. Yeah, and their Discord is confirmed a skin for Cassius. Wow. Okay, well, there it is. Yes, new Cassius skin, motherfucker, just came out and already getting a skin. That is crazy to me. See, that's the other thing. Okay, so that goes back to my point about like the direction of the game. When they initially brought out skins, it evolved the way that Louis' skin worked. It evolved the way that Miyamoto worked. It evolved the way that the sisters worked. And that was a really cool thing, because at core concept, you're taking the ability to take old heroes that players already invested a lot to get them, you know, start up, awaken, all those types of things. And then by adding to them a skin, which you could still obtain for free by saving up points for like the getting the skin store or whatever have you, using these tickets, being able to then evolve those skills. And I thought it'd be cool to see Thunder make a comeback with relevancy, even if he's not, you know, S tier garrison, but to move him from an F tier garrison to like an A tier garrison, or a DUT from being like a D tier field to an A tier field, like doing that kind of thing to take previous investments that you've made, do a minor new investment, and all of a sudden an old investment that you have becomes relevant again. Like that at a core concept seems really, really cool, right? Am I wrong on that, or how do you guys kind of feel when we don't go off topic in that game channel? That is true. I spent 1,200 plus honing chips for rare. Got three rare in the new armaments. I started to have safe honing chips again. Should I go for rare on other 3 armaments, or try to make first 4 attribute spread? I would say go for the rare hones. I think that the rare hones in the new armament sets are really, really good, actually. They play a good part in debuffs, buffs, just overall performance of the heroes themselves, and they synergize really well with the infantry heroes. So I would say focus on that first. And then get the other hones, because you can't target hones on the other ones, but you can target the rare hone on that 5th slot. So I would say go for it. Have you already given your opinion on the update? I don't think I saw your opinion, just discussed with too many events and updates at once. I mean, overall, okay, so I can talk about, I guess, more of it, Rocks, because we only started going down the list. The armament transcendence, again, this is where I view... Give me one moment. I want to figure out how I want to show this. I think paint is my best friend when it comes to live streaming. If you guys will delve with me here for a moment. Okay. So this to me is the content of the game, right? And it looks kind of something like this. So like if you bring out, say, like armaments, right? Say you bring out beasts, say you bring out garage, say you bring out refinery, that is you building along the surface of the game. That is you creating more content at the surface, because each one of these are different aspects that work separate from each other, but together in like in a sense of like multiplicatively, or multiplicatively. But they're all different categories that you build within your account. But since each one is its own spending category, if you spend on one, you're not necessarily influencing the other. I would like to see IGG develop the game with more depth to it, to where if you have let's say, for example, with the beasts, right? A good example of this was that with the beasts, when they brought out the new beasts, I think the music is a little bit loud, by the way. Let me turn it down just a little bit. I don't know if it's too loud. You guys tell me. But when they brought out the new beast, right? They had an opportunity to create more depth to the beast by having another beast, in this case, like the rare beast, whatever have you, for physical, included in it. But even though it did that, it still was somehow able to be built out this way, because what ended up happening was that they included it in the crates, the choice boxes, but instead of allowing players who have saved up choice boxes in anticipation of new beasts coming out to then use them, you couldn't use them. You had to do net new. You had to spend all over again. You had to take your free-to-play player and regrind all over again in order to obtain those new fragments. So while you had the ability to take something and create more depth to that factor or that feature, you decided to create more surface level to try to get people to do what? Spend more. Because what happens if you build on this level or this surface part of the game itself by building more like this, then what you're essentially doing is creating a casting net for fishing, and you're just trying to make it to where, hey, the player is going to spend in one of these categories. One of these is going to appeal to the player, and they're going to be forced to spend on it. So rather than taking something that you've already built upon and enhancing it by bringing out more features, more quality of content, more quality of life, and things of that nature, that improve your overall experience with Beast, with Garage, with the Refinery. Like, let's say, for example, for Refinery, they made it to where you could use linked gold to be able to buy items in the Refinery from selling it and actually create a true ecosystem. Instead of doing things like that to add depth to your game, all you are trying to do is widen the surface level of the game so that then you can add more ways to try to capture more money. And what does that do? It brings in money, but the end user experience does not get better, because typically end user experience is more enhanced when there is more depth to your game, when there is more that they can experience based on the things that they are already doing. Based on the fact that I've already been saving and grinding for these features, give me more things that I can obtain with that through things that I'm already doing, and that enhances your experience as a player, as a consumer. And they aren't doing that. And that's why this update with this armament transcendence feature, it sucks. To me, it sucks. Because you're taking something where superb armaments can get these glory stars. Yes, you make it to where legendary can get legendary stars, but the superb armaments will gain glory stars. So there is a level of, hey, yes, you can have this, but it's the people that have already spent a lot more that'll get the same benefit, but much, much better. You couldn't just bring something out that is good for everybody. You had to bring something out that gives the end user a little Costco sample and gives the main feast to the people that are spending copious amounts of money. No, I didn't go for the toy Lego shelter skin. No. Let me backtrack real quick, Rocks, to you before I talk further into this. Z, if I sent you my hero, could you recommend what rare home to go for next? I'm mostly a field fighter. Yeah, that's fine. As most people only talk about range and infantry counts, being a rider, it's hard to get legit info. One question I have is who to team up with me talk for rallies. I don't have Rubina. Chasey is fine. In fact, I would say that Meatwagon, who is our main rider rally, primarily uses me talk Chasey more than he does me talk Rubina. Yeah, Meatwagon is a perfect example of that. He had over 800 rare beast choice boxes saved in anticipation for new beasts to come out, and then they made it exclusive to where you couldn't use those boxes. So that is another example, again, where they will bring something out, and rather than rewarding or allowing you as an end user to take all of them, whether it be money from a spender or time and effort from somebody who doesn't spend, in order to see the fruits of your spend, whether it be time or money, they just widen it and force you to reduplicate those efforts all over again. And that is the part that I'm frustrated with, and I am coming to a very close end on this game with myself. I cannot, in good faith and good conscience, continue to support a company that screws over its consumer base from a spending standpoint, from a free-to-play standpoint. Doesn't matter. This is just, to me, this is just outright exploitation. There is a level of, yes, it's a gacha game, and there's a line that you cross where it becomes exploitation to me. Can't believe we were discussing a Thunderskin rework, how three of us knowing IGG in their games. Yeah, it sucks, because the initial thought process on it was great, and then they went the wrong direction. Maybe the copyright agreements limit them to a skin instead of the rights to create, design a whole new hero. The game would on their own. Sounds weird, but I work in copyrights. It happens sometimes. I would agree with that, Fetty, if we didn't have the heroes already. Because to me, if you are bringing out Aaron, if you're bringing out May, if you're bringing out Marco, if you're bringing out Jack, if you're bringing out, you know, these heroes that are collab heroes, then do the partnerships and the collab events with those that are that operate within that within that collaborative copyrights space. If they only allow for you to create skins, then don't make a full event out of it. Just highlight the skin. You don't need to bring out those core features. Otherwise, the question on that is then why would we also have the vehicles, like the boats, or you know, the skin for the heroes themselves, like those types of things? Like, it doesn't make much sense. It's almost like they're trying to, what's the best way to put this? It's almost like they're trying to say, see, we didn't go against our word. Because when they say exclusively,
hey, we're going to slow down on our content pushing. If you make it to where it's only a skin and rather than a hero, there's an argument or a defense standpoint that they can stand on to say, oh, well, we didn't release a new hero. We slowed down on the hero releases like you asked. You guys were saying that we were releasing heroes too fast, so we slowed down on the hero release, so they can defend the statement that they made without actually having to slow down. It's almost like the whole like read between the lines and read the fine print type of thing. That to me is what it feels like. And that's why to me it feels like exploitation. Let's see. No, absolutely right. Skins are just coming out for new heroes right away. Boyd, Nova, Cassius, new Rider hero. I like the idea of older heroes, older skins for characters that are outdated. I agree. That's where my mind goes. So yeah, continue to watch your streams so I don't have to play the actual game since the game because non-stop collab events instead of Doomsday events. Well, I appreciate it. I'm getting to the point where I might have to start watching videos instead of playing myself, unfortunately. 10 more heroes incoming. I agree, Birdman, and that's a tough pill to swallow. I've always said one thing I would have liked to see is missions to be accomplished by heroes that would reward the activity and use of all the heroes. For example, deal count on Stella, Heal, Thunder. I agree, and they have something similar to that, right? Where if you go to, say, for example, Sakura, I think it's if you go here, right? Yeah, you can see how many kills that you've had with the heroes themselves since you obtained them. You can see how many kills they've like participated in. I think that that's a great idea, Rox. I think that if they had something to say, oh, Cassius is a damage over time, this continuous damage based hero. We're going to put a mission in here to show how many kills came from continuous damage versus, say, counter damage versus basic attack damage, that kind of a thing. And once you hit certain tiers or thresholds with continuous damage, since he's a continuous damage hero, your skills evolve. Or it doesn't even have to be game breaking, but it encourages you to take the heroes and the identity of the heroes, use those heroes to that identity, and that enhances your experience because of it. So now not only are you encouraged to use certain heroes based on mechanics in the game, but you're looking at your current state, and then you're looking down the road to say, hey, if I evolve Sakura and she has a mission that says, hey, get 100 million kills with her final form heavy strike, or the heavy strike portion of her skill, which happens after, you know, she does a certain amount or whatever. Once you get 100 million of those bonus kills, it evolves again, or you get an additional passive or something like that. Like things like that, to just take something, encourage you to use them in a certain play style that they release them to be in, and then evolve them and reward you by doing that, would then allow for, like, maybe you use Sakura one way now, but then she evolves and all of a sudden she can play in a different play style or in a different way in your lineup, or that kind of, like, that would be so cool to do. And it's just, rather than that, but that goes exactly back to what I was talking about before, where rather than building more depth on these things that they have, like heroes, and, you know, adding more to those heroes and adding like changing these things and adding more better experience to the existing things, they just build horizontally. There's no vertical depth to this game, and I'm genuinely getting bored because of the lack of depth to this game. That's all it is. It's microtransaction after microtransaction. Jesus Christ, man. Is it worth getting the new infantry armaments if I can only get one piece out of the 6? I'm a field fighter, by the way. I would say that any upgrade that you can get with the new armaments to compare to the old makes sense to do, because the rare homes themselves are much better. If you can get at least 3 pieces, that's much better, because it's a set type thing, but any net new pieces that you can get, I would. I love that this game allows us to say things like meat wagon in a serious conversation without skipping a beat. If I had $1 for every time that I've said meat wagon's name in a sentence and after just mentally gone pause, yeah, I would be able to fund my account. I'm just glad it's meat wagon and not the other one, which would be free to play and increase heroes' skills instead of their broken skin attempt. Ended up being, we'll take X% HP. Yeah, I agree, Rox. I hope there's an IGG dev in here taking notes. Not likely. Yes, sir. The only way you can grow in life is by supporting and encouraging each other. You're doing great. Keeping a solid father also. Life's greatest joy. Perhaps. Let's see. Life should be somewhere. Shut up. Shut up. That's an inside joke for anyone that's from the Discord. You wanted me to suggest a rare home? I would absolutely get the Boots rare home. The Boots rare home is the best rare home on the armament set for both ranged and infantry, because it does reduces the defense of up to 3 nearby enemy squads by 30% for 3 seconds. It's the same thing as the War Drone skill effect. Reduces the defense of them, but it does it up to multiple people. It does require him to be targeted, but it's the fact that it does it, and it's kind of in comparison to the others. The other one that I would do, I don't think you had the weapon one, but the weapon or boots, it's up to you. If you want consistent outgoing damage, get the weapon. If you feel like your march is getting targeted quite a bit, or if you garrison at all, or tank rally, get the boots for sure, but the boots should be towards the top of your list. Meat wagon, meat stick, same thing. Hi Z, which devices do you recommend for Sakura? Depends on if you're rally or garrison or field, and I do have a video covering device tier lists on my YouTube channel. If you go to my YouTube channel and you look up devices or just search for devices in my videos, you'll find it. It'll be hard to miss. Time to go to sleep, midnight past me. Thanks for the stream, of course, for the past weekend in AR. It was amazing to play hard with you. Hey, brother, appreciate you doing it, my man. Always appreciate you being here. Hope you had a good vacation with you and your family, Rocks. And I will catch you soon. Have a good night. What's up, Kozo? How's it going? Later, Rocks. Yep, no worries at all, Reaper. I don't think that my YouTube notifications is catching it. I've gone up, like when I look at my live count thing, I've gone up 3 subscribers since we started, but I've only had 1 notification go off. So if you are somebody that is watching and you subscribe to the YouTube channel and my notifications isn't catching it, I apologize. I just wanted to say thank you. I appreciate the support that you have for the channel and for me being here, and I appreciate you being here. I got pretty lucky on 2 rare homes for the new set with less than 200 homes. Yeah, I was getting lucky too, and again, I've heard quite a few people say that as well. I've experienced it firsthand. I've seen other people talk about it too. We got really lucky with the rare homes for the first few, especially the first 5. It could be anywhere from 100 homes, 200 homes, down to like 5 homes. I think I got 1 in 3. But then you get to that last home, and dude, I am 2,000 in. Tandab was 2,800 in. Those are just the 2 numbers that I'm aware of. Other people said that they had the same experience. Love the new arms. Let me feel strong for once. Yeah, no, I will say that. From a gotcha standpoint, they did make it to where the spend versus the payoff for how the performance is for the new armaments is definitely there. But what I'm not a fan of is when you have to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for things like a base skin. Now, granted, this base skin is probably one of the better ones where you get 3% HP, 2% damage reduction. But, bro, 42,000 points? No, brother. Is this another one? Oh. I am seriously thirsty this afternoon. I think I am dehydrated. Too much coffee, not enough water. Drink water. That's all I heard in basic training. Drink water. Gotta be best base skin in the game. Yeah, I think so. For that, not for that price. Sent you an AOD report. Can you recommend what marches I can put on the field? Sure. I don't see anything wrong with any of these. To be fair with you, these hero pairings are all good. I know that you're like limited in the actual hero sets themselves, but like what heroes would improve this lineup would be something like if you had an Aaron. Aaron would be great here. Like you could throw Aaron in behind Sophie for the AoE part without, you know, Ethan not having any move speed and stuff. Same thing in place of like Nova. But in terms of like actual hero pairs, there's nothing wrong with this at all. HP cut, debuff, silence, AoE, debuff, AoE, skill damage bonus, skill damage bonus, skill damage bonus. Like, there's nothing wrong with this at all. This looks really good, Kozo. It's disgusting as well how much money is needed to be spent to get 42k points for you just to get 6 legendary hero frags to the banquet. I agree. Yeah, is this the same channel for selling kidneys, or... Hey Z, I have 3 skill, Transcended Chasey, and Awakened Rubina. I can awaken Metalk. What's my best option for Rod with these 3 heroes? I would say that it depends. If you are fighting an infantry garrison, it is better to have high burst heroes, because infantry plays, especially with Boyd in garrison right now, Boyd has a lot of shields. And so if you are running 2 heroes that don't deal high burst damage, they deal damage over time, the problem is that his shield health will typically out sustain that bonus damage. So if you have to say, for example, Chasey, she deals bonus attack damage, but rather than a bunch of upfront damage, she deals it over time, and he has, 3 shields that fire off, and each of his shields last, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds each. Then what ends up happening is that all that bonus damage that you have is just soaked and absorbed during that time, and then by the time that you break the shield, he's getting, and get ready to use your rage skill again, he's getting ready to use his shields again. So it's hard to deal penetrating damage when you're running like a low burst, high consistent damage hero versus a shield hero. So my point is that if you're playing against infantry, you typically see like a Rubina Metalk do better, because Rubina can deal a lot of skill damage really fast to Boyd. So you can break the shield immediately, have some penetrating damage with the skill damage, and then your penetrating damage for the next 2 or 3 seconds before he gets his next shield up is your basic encounter damage. And that's true damage dealt to troops rather than to his shields. The opposite is the effect for range, where ranged garrisons with Nova and Ethan have high skill damage reduction, whether it be through their talents, through their skill sets, those types of things. And so that really reduces that high nuke skill damage that you get out of Rubina, and it really tones it down, which then means that she deals less damage through Metalk, who basically does a damage check to say, hey, damage check, how much damage am I dealing in the next 3 seconds, and then I'm going to do that echo of it, with 25% of it being echoed again as AoE. And if that damage is really low, or like really highly reduced to a much lower number, then the echo damage is much less as well. And so you can circumvent that that damage reduction by using Chasey, who instead of using skill damage uses basic attack damage, and they don't have basic attack damage reduction on Ethan or Nova. So you can still deal a high amount of damage, which is then captured by Metalk, so then her echo damage is still consistently high. And we tested this with Meatwagon as well as Amides and other Rider players also, and it's fairly consistent across the board. The burst damage does well versus shields. The basic attack damage of Chasey does well against the high skill damage reduction garrison pairs. So I would run Rubina and Metalk Rubina versus infantry. I would run Metalk and Chasey versus ranged garrisons. I have second Rider account that I mostly use to run around map. Is it worth trying to get TC heroes, or should I just stick to the roulette heroes? If your playstyle is strictly you running around the map, then you don't really need the TC heroes all too much. You could argue that there is benefit to say like the counter damage or the damage reduction on Metalk, or the high burst damage of Rubina, or the high consistent basic damage of Chasey. But that would be if you want to be more damage oriented, because you'd be sacrificing the speed, since none of the TC heroes actually have move speed. So it depends in your mind what is more important. Is it the move speed, or is it the damage, or is it a hybrid of both? If it's a hybrid of both, then you'll run one non-TC roulette hero that has move speed, or maybe a collab hero like Aaron or something, and pair that with the TC Transcended hero that provides a lot of the damage. If it's move speed, you'll probably use a collab hero plus a roulette hero, or a double collab hero, whatever. Or if it is just raw damage, then you kind of move away from caring about move speed. So it's worth taking Metalk to for flexibility if the frags are not an issue. Correct. Metalk is great in general, because yeah, she works well with both hero pairs and provides a benefit of synergy to both. Now hold on, question. I'm still pulling on OC physical during my chips event. Would you say I finished my 4-star crit set using crates, or should I begin building the 0-star combo set I have and hello stream? Physical OC, pulling on OC physicals during the chips event. Would you say I finished my 4-star crit set using crates, or should I begin building the 0-star combo? Well, instead of just like theory crafting, we can just take a look for you, right? So you're looking at a 3-star versus a 5-star on a 4-piece array. I mean, you're looking at bonus damage being 39% versus 73, which is almost double. And then nothing else really changes, so it depends. Do you want double the combo damage? Is that more effective? Or is it more effective to have a second set? I would argue that probably what you should do is start building out the second set. Get the second set to 3 stars, because I think it's the same way on these as it is armaments, right? It should take 5 fragments to go from 0 stars to 3 stars, and then 5 more copies to go from 3 stars to 5 stars. So what you would spend to go from here to here, you would essentially have a whole second one of this, and you would get the 33% leader skill damage with the same proc rate, and you would have the same proc rate but 39%. So I would say, like, if you have 2 armament sets that are around the same might as each other, or you really just want to compound the damage of the 1 march, building the 2 3-star sets would be better than building 1 5-star set and having a purple one. Because even though the damage goes up, that damage is multiplied based off of the base values and everything, which you get a lot of benefit from like OC sets and stuff. But physical is kind of unique where they don't have that stacking. That's the stacking mechanic, I guess you would call it, or like the stacking variable that the other elements do. Like, so for water, you get the stacking based on corrosion or combo. On fire, you get crit or detonate, etc., etc. But physical doesn't have that stacking portion on their OC set. It's just a raw flat damage. So I would say do 2 3-star gold sets. Is Chiron useful at all in garrison support? Yeah, you're totally fine to use them on garrison support. Chiron is one of the best supports for either garrison or rally. He's less effective on multi-rally and swarm garrisons because there's not much counter involved. He excels exceedingly well in just like single target rally garrisons. But reason being is that it's just this flat... where is it? It's down here. 6% crit times 4 stacks 4 times, 24% attack. If you take that 24% attack and you take your core attack stat, right, 11,858, you multiply it times 4 if you have bull, or 4.5 if you have one of the new beasts. So 11,000 times 4 or 4.5, depending on which lead beast that you're doing. And then you take that and you multiply that by an additional 24%, you can see where you really start to stack like high damage. And just like attack for your troops, that impacts your counter damage, your crits, your combos, your leader skill. Like that impacts active skill. It impacts all areas and forms of damage. So yes, Chiron is very effective. Don't run no chasey me talk against range. That shit hurts coming from personal experience. I'm still bandaging my wounds. So we rallied a maxed me talk Ethan that had the section 9 armaments before infantry came out, and we tested both, and chasey me talk was performing 20% better than Rubina and me talk. I provided that data and information to Amides. He tested it, saw similar results. We provided that same information to, I mean, just other Rider players that I know. Saint in the Alliance. I mean, shit, I've got like 5 or 6 Rider rally heroes, or Rider rally leaders in the Alliance, and it was the same across the board when we all split apart and stuff. I know, that's why I'm streaming. Mom gets off soon, and then you guys are gonna go do your thing tonight, and then after you get back from your event, then we'll play tonight, okay? Okay. Otherwise, if we get started playing now, it won't be long, because Mom's gonna be off work soon, and then you'll have to go. So you go do your thing tonight with school, and then after you get back, we'll play Minecraft together, okay? Sounds good. Oh yeah, okay, cool. Thank you for explaining, Kyron. Yeah, no worries. I thought I heard you mention this in a previous stream, but forgot you're the man. Yeah, no worries at all. It's just the base multiplier. That 24% attack is already huge no matter what, but it's the fact that you take the 400% attack and defense stat multiplier of Bull, Pango, or the newbies at 450%, that all of a sudden that 24%, instead of multiplying against 11,000, is multiplying against 50,000. Or 55,000, 60,000, whatever it is, and it compounds it to make it better. So, no worries at all, Baguette. Yeah, my ranged garrison doesn't like them. They hurt like a mother. Oh, I see what you mean. I got you. So Metalk Chasey is better than Metalk Rubina. No, Metalk Rubina is better against infantry garrisons, and Metalk Chasey is better versus ranged garrisons, because I'll show you. So Nova, I don't have her transcended or anything, so I have to go here. Let's see. On her rage skill, reduces the skill damage dealt by target squads by 10%. Right? On top of that, when not in a rally, reduces skill damage taken by 15%. Pair these two together, that's a total of 25% skill damage reduction. Now let's go to Ethan. Ethan also provides a... is it this one? Yeah, but I have to transcend it. Hold on. Bear with me. 17% additional skill damage reduction from Ethan's third skill when transcended. Now that's 42% already just between the two of them. Pair that with an additional 16% from skillful defense in the garrison tree, right? So now you're at 58%. Over here, you get another 6%, 64%. 64% skill damage reduction from a high damage output ranged garrison march, right? That does not include if you have the optic camo net for an additional 6%. That does not include the 7.2% from section 9, which just between the two of these is another 13%. That doesn't include the Oh, no, I'm thinking of infantry armaments where they have the skill damage reduction too. But yeah, another 13% from the devices. You're already at 60% to begin with. You can see that because Metalk and Rubina are high skill damage burst based, a lot of that damage is then going to be reduced from Rubina's burst damage, which then Metalk is looking at to say, hey, for the next 3 seconds, I'm going to tally up the damage that is dealt for the next 3 seconds, and then echo that 25% when transcended. I'm going to echo 25% of that damage again after 3 seconds. If 75% of the skill damage that they're going to tally up in the next 3 seconds is reduced by talents, by armaments, by the hero pairs, then there is not much damage for this to echo, because that damage is far reduced. So what do? You use Chasey, who does basic attack damage, not skill damage, increases basic attack damage by up to, the 400% plus that she gets or whatever have you. And now all of a sudden that 75+% damage reduction on skill damage does not matter anymore, because it's not reducing basic attack damage, it's reducing skill damage. And Chasey puts up her middle finger and says, I'm not dealing skill damage anyways. So then she deals a lot of damage, and then Metalk takes that and has a higher base number that was tallied for those 3 seconds since it wasn't reduced, and then echoes 25% of that. If it's all you have for rally, would you run Metalk Chasey every time, or is there a time to switch to Chasey Metalk? I'm in the corner that says just always use the best that you can use anyways. If you're in a position where you have to rally, where you have to garrison, it's no longer about optimizing, it's using what's best. Like what heroes do you have built out? Because rather than trying to fine tune for those small percentage points of optimizations and such, you're in a position where it's just like, does that make more of an impact than me just outright using a hero that is more transcended or is further progressed in those things? Because typically those skill evolvements that you get from transcendence will do more than the actual optimizations that you're getting by looking at the mechanics itself. You want to have the optimizations in place to then adapt around the mechanics and stuff like that the game provides. So if you don't have a built-out Chasey, don't use a built-out Chasey. Use, your Rubina and your Metalk or whatever have you. But I think that this is kind of more just answering towards the question that the individual asked. For one, Metalk, Rubina, Chasey, what would you pair them with in rallying and when? And then the follow-up question of which one is better versus a ranged garrison and why? I think there's reason, like if you're at a point where you have all three available, there's you get put into a position where you can optimize to use certain pairs based on changing battlefield situations and situational situations that you're getting put into, or situational scenarios, not situational situations, but situational scenarios that you're put into. But until you get to that point of having the flexibility to make those choices, you're kind of forced to just use what's best for you at the time. You can show this reference versus the max count in AR. Oh yeah, this is yeah. So here's one that's almost maxed. I mean, they've got the full Section 9 armaments. They have the gravity devices. This was when was this? This was 8/22, so this was during AR. Let me see. Oh, that's what I'm looking for. Squad buff, sorry. Yeah, so you can see that the garage is much, much higher on their end. There is a bit of a I guess like a like looking at like a seesaw, a little bit of a skew towards the beast damage for Meat Wagon. There is the massive skew towards the garrison in terms of like the garage and stuff like that. And then of course they have the gravity devices which outperform. They have the Section 9 armaments where Ryder doesn't have Section 9 armaments. So a lot of that seesaw is pointed towards the ranged garrison, but you would not see this even of a trade on a tank rally basically versus a ranged garrison if you ran a Rubina and Metalk, because the damage would be significantly less. Who would you pair with Metalk for counter rally? I don't have Rubina or Chase yet. I'm deciding who to work on next. It would help to have field utility as well. I can't counter rallies yet. Who would you pair with Metalk for counter rallies? You could do things like Janet. I know that Janet works well on counter rallies, especially with Metalk, because what ends up happening is that Janet then does the basically like the bonus instances of damage or whatever that is dealt. She tallies up for the graffiti and such. And even though there's only the 2 rage skills that are primarily used for like the bonus damage, it kind of adds to the total overall damage that is then dealt. So it's rage skill, then both of those rage skills proc graffiti. So it's just a little bit bonus damage basically that attributes towards Metalk's second half of her skill that she uses for her AoE. But then that AoE also reprocs graffiti as well. So it's kind of that back and forth synergy. Not the most synergistic in the world, but it is one that I have seen, and that was the reasoning behind it when I asked. There is a world where you can also use Felix. Felix has always been great for he was used as garrison essentially before Rick and stuff, but he's also been used in rallies. So the basic attacks will reduce the enemy skill damage, which then helps the garrison. So you have that utility side of things, and then he just has high high damage as well. The reduction in counter damage taken by 44% is nice, because since you're a counter rally, the only damage that you're taking from the rally, unless it's AoE, is counter damage. So you're taking a lot less damage basically by using him as a support. And then of course you increase the overall all damage. So this increases skill damage, basic damage, all that kind of stuff that you're doing on flanks. Is there a situation where Stella Bodala or Sakura Bodala works better than Sakura Stella in a rally, or should I use Stella Sakura all the time? Bodala, while he does have the defensive side of things, and people are like, oh, well, this makes it to where I take less damage from the garrison, you have to understand that the trade report that you're getting is a bi-directional report. So it's not just the damage that you're taking that impacts the report, but also the damage that you're dealing. And since Bodala's damage is so minimal, you end up it's not necessarily worth the sustain that you get to have the huge drop off in damage. So Stella is the far better option because she'll have 2 high skill damage skills, whether it be her It's Showtime or what's the other skill called? Final Performance, either one of those skills proccing basically. Plus she also has the 44% basic attack damage reduction as well, so that is another form of sustain. And she does also have 1 shield and 2 shields that she does get in Rally 2. So it's not that she isn't any sustain at all. She has basic attack damage reduction and she has shields, so there is that level of sustain while having much higher damage. So I would say that there's probably not a situation where you need to use Bodala unless you just don't have Stella. Can you talk about what makes a good counter rally? I never really understood tower rally versus counter rally with respect to mechanics, or what's good and bad and how you do each role. Counter damage, typically, this is where we're going to get back to paint here. File, new, don't save. Let me repaint this black. Let me change screens here. Zoom in a little bit. So here is a tower, right? Fancy tower, right? And here is the enemy rally, labeled by an E, hitting the tower. And I've shown this in one of my videos. They are dealing basic, counter, and skill damage to the tower. The tower is dealing counter, basic, and skill damage to them. And here comes you, the savior of the day, on your counter rally. When you are hitting them, you are dealing basic attack damage and skill damage to them, and they are dealing counter damage to you. Now, they may be doing skill damage to you if they're an AoE hero, but unless they're like a ranged rally or an infantry rally with Sakura that you get put into the cone up here, right? Unless they're either one of those things, they're not likely going to be dealing skill damage to you. So they're dealing very minimal damage to you because they're only dealing 1 form of damage, where you're dealing 2. And the majority of the damage from rallies, from garrison, from counter rallies, field, doesn't matter what it is going to be the skill damage, right? That's much, much higher than basic or counter damage. So your essential role as a counter rally is to deal as much possible to this rally, since you don't really have to worry about the sustain factor, since they're only dealing counter damage to you, right? So your role as a counter rally is to just effectively have high damage output, and if you can intertwine into that some utility as well, even better, because what that'll do is that'll improve the overall performance of the garrison on their damage attacks to the enemy rally as well. And that can come from things like HP cut. And you can see, but you don't want to get utility and sacrificing damage. So that you can get this from, say, someone like a Cedric, or, you can do things like, say, a defense cut, or an attack cut even. Those types of things. If you can get a pair of damage and utility, that's ideal. But you want to focus on the damage factor first and foremost. Utility is just like a byproduct. If you can do both, even better. That's where people like Cedric shine. When counter rallying, who would you suggest pairing with Rubina between Felix, Janet, and Elena? I would probably say Felix, because, well, actually, it depends. If the enemy has high field presence, and you want to have your counter rally have some effectiveness of clearing the field for you, then Rubina's multi-proc between 2 to 6 damage instances on her damage, with her bonus damage that she deals, would each proc Graffiti as AoE. So that's a way to get burst AoE damage. If it's just the rally hitting the tower and they don't have a lot of field presence, there isn't a bunch of like field marches, so the AoE doesn't matter as much, I would say Felix, because Felix has the increase of up to 18% raw damage, which would increase that nuke damage of Rubina, along with the utility part of reducing their skill damage. So this kind of goes back to that paint part that I was talking about, where you can reduce their skill damage reduction. So that would reduce this right here, the enemy skill damage that they're doing to Garrison, to make this trade better. And this would come from someone like a Felix, for example. So Felix would have damage, but he has the utility of reducing the enemy's skill damage, which then improves the trade of the Garrison itself. So not only are you taking a good report on a flank rally, but you're also improving the Garrison report. And if you can impact both reports, that is your primary objective as a counter rally. If you can only improve your own and that improves the overall trade, totally fine as well. Yeah, no worries at all. No. Hopefully that makes sense. I know it was a very long, drawn-out explanation, but I felt like the context was kind of necessary. Good night, Baguette. Sorry if I missed your message, by the way, brother. Have a good night, man. Hey Z, how bad is my primary beast pair? I started working on Garage after watching your videos, so it's a work in progress. Also, I tested several times Isabella Aaron, and from Arena Ports, it's better this way until I finish leader armaments. Any other suggestions? Yeah, it's totally fine. You typically need to have your leader armaments in a place before. This makes sense as well with Aaron Claude, because Aaron will proc, hey, for the next few seconds I'm dealing AoE, and by then Claude already has them debuffed, so you can actually take advantage. So you'd be surprised this actually does really well. I don't mind this at all. You wanted the beast pairings. I wouldn't say that there's an issue. Before I dive into this, I want to say, I don't know how to say your name. Is it Chexy? I'm going to say Chexy. If I'm wrong, please correct me. Arena is a terrible way to get a gauge of how effective your performance is actually going to be in anything, because the game in the field is fought by moving things around and manually selecting your targets, selecting how many of your marches are selecting that target, target switching, target prioritizing. However, when you play Arena of Doom, you just click attack and you get a result. So there's no human influence, which really changes the way that you play the game. Because if the game was just click and get a report, everybody's accounts would be built differently. But because you have the ability to target, prioritize, like build certain attack patterns and play styles and stuff, the Arena way of looking at, like, using this to judge how your account is played when not a single other event that is played uses that is just a poor way to do it. So don't take the results here at face value is what I'm getting at. Hero pairings are good. Beast pairings, combo, counter, crit, combo, crit. I mean, like, you could improve this to make it combo, but I don't have any issues with any of these because your account doesn't say, hey, I have, 10 plus gold beasts and I need to optimize them better. You're just simply pairing the best beasts that you have for your account, so there's no problems there. In terms of Garrison, let's see, you have a fire combo set, so yeah, that would be fine. I'd be interested to see what Pango plus Kong has for a proc rate for combo. If you feel that it is high enough to warrant this, that's fine. You may get better performance with a Saber support, depending on if your base crit ends up being high enough. Because this is all crit, so you have high crit coming from a full done crit set. You also get crit from Pango's skills, which comes from here when Garrison crit 120, plus its basic and core attributes, which you would also get from Saber. And then you would have the combo, which is kind of just an added bonus if you had Saber support, because the Saber support, like, procs off of a crit and you would already have high crit, and then the combo would just kind of be that extra oomph basically of damage, as opposed to if Kong has a low proc rate, then you're not triggering his active skill enough with these combo chips to warrant this pair. So I would say test that, see if the chips from Pango plus the basic and core attributes for both of them makes Saber proc his active skill and have better performance as support, or if the combo is high enough with these combo chips to actually have a Kong support. That would be the up in the air question that you would have to answer through testing. And plus, with many arenas don't actually run 5 squads, so it's hard to judge that also. An AR, IR would specify. Yeah, exactly. You could be running 2 or 3 marches in AR, IR in all your events, but you're forced to use 5 in AOD. So, absolutely good point. Also, your opinion on Chasey and Rick's talent tree, currently using Rick as a leader. I don't think I can see either talent tree. If you want to use Chasey on Garrison, this is probably what's best for you for a multi-rally Garrison, or a single rally plus swarms, or multi-rally plus swarms, because it'll give you the guaranteed 8% damage taken reduction. You get the skill damage reduction, and then you don't get the full 6 here, but you get the rage regen, the skill damage reduction, all those things from here. If you're doing a single rally Garrison, like non-multi-rally or non-swarm, then I would take the bonus rage generation. You don't need this because you won't have it proc because it's not multi-rally or swarms. So then you can just take the skill damage reduction, and then just get the high rage regen by finishing this out and taking it here as well. Taking 4 out of 5 here. People would argue to go this direction, but what ends up happening is you're forced to take travel speed here instead. So you sacrifice 2 talent points in order to get rage regen. So this gives you attack plus rage regen instead of losing 2 points to travel speed. Okay, now I also know that this is broken because we've gone up another subscriber and my notifications and my alerts are not firing off. So again, I apologize that it's not catching it. Whoever subscribed recently, I see that it has gone up on my live counter. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I apologize again that it's not catching it. I wish I knew why. But thank you so much. I do appreciate you. Good questions today, guys. Good questions. Oh. Yeah, sorry, we're not recruiting right now. Say, no worries at all, Chexy. For the longer term, who works better for counter rallies between Chasey and Rubina if I have to use one in all cases for budget reasons, unless Felix performs comparatively well? Also, which one should I transcend first? I would default to Metalk, but her super weapon is counterattack based. Yeah. There's a few arguments to do kind of each one. I agree as well that her weapon is counterattack based, but I think it also kind of depends on your average bracket. The higher that you go up in brackets, I would say the more often that you see rallies and counter rallies and stuff like that getting swarmed out. So if you feel yourself getting swarmed out a ton when you set rallies or specifically counter rallies, then I think that reinforces the reason to upgrade or transcend the Metalk with her weapon. If you don't, if you play in a lower bracket, or you say the majority of the time I can set a counter rally and it just runs until the rally cancels or whatever have you, I don't really have to worry about swarms and stuff, then maybe it's less important and maybe you want to focus more on the damage to, say, a Rubina. But if you had to choose between Chasey and Rubina, which one would you choose for longer term? Oh man, that's a good question. If there is no situation, like not a single one, where you ever have to get put into a position of needing a garrison, then I would probably say Rubina. The nuke damage of Rubina is nice. She also pairs with Janet, where Chasey can't. And I think just in general, Rubina's kit is a bit better overall. Rubina has the higher damage output. Chasey has the flexibility of leaning into garrison, but also has the damage reduction utility of her charm effect. So there is that. So it depends. Are you looking for more damage in your marches when you look at the bigger picture? Or could you use more utility and the flexibility to potentially be a garrison leader if need be? I think that that's a question that you would have to answer yourself. I don't think that there's a wrong answer. It just depends on what your alliance need and what your play style is pushing you towards, whether it be more damage or more utility. And then with Metalk, again, great default choice, and she'll work with either one of them, but it only is necessary if you feel like your rally is getting swarmed out. If not, then I would say full forcing towards Chasey or full forcing towards Rubina based on which one you pick is the better option. Reaper, you said views to comment ratio, but I'm not too sure what you are referencing. I don't know if a previous message didn't come through or what, but I don't see any other one. Can you give me some advice on pairing? Yeah, I can do that. As a ranged field player, who would you run behind Isabella? I think that there's a few options that you can use for Isabella, and I think there's arguments for each. I would Let me ask you a follow-up question, No Mercy, because I don't want to steer you the wrong direction, but this piece of information is probably really important for that. How strong is your leader set on Isabella? Like, are we looking at flexing Isabella as a damage march because your leader set is really strong in comparison to your other ranged armaments, or is it on the weaker end and maybe let's not use a main damage person on her? Because I can give you a blanket answer, but it really depends on what you have to offer through the leader set itself, on whether we should flex this as more of a utility march or should we flex this as like your main damage march. There's other factors that need to come into play here before we just outright answer that. It's been on the weaker end for sure at the moment, but curious about both. Okay, so if you can flex it into a high damage march, then something like Aaron, as commented, is great because Isabella and Aaron both provide high skill damage boosts. They both provide rage regen. Isabella provides a debuff. There's AoE from Aaron. Like, it's just your overall one of your best pairs. You made mention that you don't have Aaron, so let's kind of move past that. If you want to have a good hybrid, and this is more towards, hey, it's on the weaker end, but we are moving it towards a stronger end, so I'd like to get the utility out of it, but I'd also like to start dealing damage. There is a world that you would sacrifice Sophie to put Sophie behind Isabella, because you would have the AoE from Sophie, but you would also be able to have the double debuff, so it becomes a great debuff march. So it's a high damage and high utility hybrid, basically. There is that. Typically, you want to keep Sophie in the lead, but again, I'm just laying out all the heroes and the reasonings behind it. That's if you're not leading with Sophie in another march. If it is on the weaker end, and will be on the weaker end for a extended period of time, in your current state, I would probably say put Sharon there. Reason being is that, yes, you can lead with Sharon because he has a skills talent tree, but range doesn't run into that problem quite nearly as much as the other marches do, like infantry, for example, or rider, where they have support or defense and stuff like that as their blue tree instead of the skills. And so you don't really have that shortcoming issue for them with the skills talent tree. And so Isabella Sharon ends up being this really strong utility march where they're not dealing the most damage, but because Isabella has rage regen, you're making it to where the HP cut of Sharon happens more often. Isabella is also debuffing, Sharon is debuffing, and now you can just make this a raw utility march and focus on keeping your damage heroes in your damage marches. So then you can instead run a Sophie Ethan, a, you know, Nova plus, I don't know, like an Aaron if you had it, or whatever have you. Like, you can let your damage deal damage, and you can use your essentially your utility march Isabella to maintain utility. You could throw a Claude in there, just so then Claude is firing off more often, and because it's a weaker set, Claude's sustain from the reduced damage the enemy deals and reduced damage that you take would also make it a utility pairing as well if you wanted to. But I would argue that that's on the lower priority, like less of a priority than Sharon, because Isabella does increase the damage that the enemy has taken. And Claude doesn't deal any damage at all, where Sharon does deal damage. So Sharon, while this is still a utility pair, can take advantage of that. So it really just depends on the state of it. If it's a raw utility march, very low armament or very weak armament set, no damage coming out at all, you could flex a Claude there. If it does have the ability to deal some damage, but not strong enough to be like a main damage march or up there, a Sharon would be good to keep it a utility march, but you're still getting some damage out of it. Once you start leaning more into that, hey, I'm actually dealing damage, then start flexing into the heroes that actually do deal damage. If you have Bard Transcended, you can still keep it a hybrid utility march where Bard is cutting their defense with his weapon, but you get to take advantage of the enemies taking more damage with his AoE skill, dealing high damage, and then if it kills somebody because they're debuffed, then he also makes this the march even stronger by gaining attack. You could start flexing a Cedric there because he cuts HP, he has increased skill damage, all those types of things, and it still becomes a debuff utility march, but still high single target damage as well, like a nuke. So like there's a lot of options how you can flex high damage and utility there. If you just want raw damage down the road, then that's where you put the Ethans, the Novas, that kind of a thing to just debuff them in an AoE and then deal AoE damage. So it's kind of just progressional that you would just insert other heroes as the armament set gets stronger and stronger and stronger. I have seen Isabella Cedric do really well because Cedric does a shit ton of single target damage, plus he has the AoE factor, and he cuts HP and skill damage, so he has the ability to debuff them. But because he deals so much damage with his main skill, plus his third skill here as well, and I think it's his... his fifth skill here, his weapon. His weapon essentially turns his damage into an execute, where when the remaining squad size is 30% or less, increases the skill damage, and restores rage with each basic attack. This then makes it to where when the enemy is debuffed by Isabella, it just increases the effectiveness of this as well too, and there's a lot of cohesion that can end up happening. So I've seen Isabella Cedric on quite a few upper end accounts. I've seen Isabella Bard, because again, she debuffs them to take more damage. He deals AoE. That ends up killing somebody, so he ends up gaining rage and increased attack, but then he also has the hybrid of debuffing them as well. So while he does have the con, basically, where he doesn't have move speed and he can be slow, he does allow for this march to stay sticky to them because Isabella gives move speed and he cuts their travel speed with a weapon too. So there's a lot of flexibility there, I think, with range when it comes to Isabella. What are we, Reaper, what are we talking about exactly? I don't... Views to comments ratio. And looking at the comments, I don't think a lot of them are real either. I don't quite know what we're talking about, Reaper, unfortunately. Yeah, is there any context to that? Like what it is that we're referencing? There's two comments now back to back that I have no idea what we're referencing. Sorry. Cool, thanks. Gives me something to work towards. Yep, no worries at all. I think that range is one of the less punished or less punishing troop types to use Isabella. It's kind of hard to flex infantry sometimes because you have things like Bodala that just doesn't deal damage at all. A lot of heroes that are like counter basic Rosalia, so you end up trying to put a Rosalia behind Isabella, and even though Isabella debuffs them to take more damage, because you're like counter based, you don't really get to take advantage of it. I think they are viewbotting their channel. Sorry, was no context. Who's viewbotting? I don't really know who we're talking about. I don't have many viewers at all, so it's certainly not me. I don't know who you're talking about, Reaper. Sorry. I think they're viewbotting their channel. Sorry, was no context. I'm trying to scroll up in the comments or in the chat to see if I know who you're talking about. I got pretty lucky on 2 rare hones. Got to be best base skin in the game. But then after that, all you said was views to comments ratio. So I don't really know who you're talking about, Reaper. I'm sorry. I don't know if you're talking about me or somebody else. I can guarantee you it's not me though. I would not want to viewbot my channel because it really does significantly hurt your overall channel performance. Because while it looks nice on paper, it takes you out of the algorithm, because basically YouTube is like, oh, you have all these views but nobody's interacting, your channel is useless. Doomsday's official channel. Oh yeah, no, I agree. Actually, they've been called out for having bots in general, because I remember back when there was the first strike, or what, not strike, but what did they call that, protest within the Doomsday community against IGG, that like they were all going to go out and put negative reviews on their game. Doomsday happened to get like thousands and thousands of positive reviews flooded all on the same day that all left the same comment from like newly created accounts. So it was like called out that they were using bots even on like their Apple reviews and Android reviews and stuff like that. So it wouldn't really surprise me. Many of us come here to listen, watch, and never comment. Hello to all of you people. Oh, no, you guys can interact. You don't have to interact. I get it. I watch live streams all the time without interacting. Like, I watch Burnt Peanut, Hutch, Shroud, Summit. I've watched Summit for years and years and years now. I've watched Peanut for a while. Like, I turn on streamers all the time and just watch while I'm working and stuff. My ADHD kind of requires me to have something going as white noise. I have 4 ranged marches. Going to build infantry as a 5th for debuff. Who is ideal to use with Claude these days? No Marco? If you're going to have an infantry march for your 5th, I would actually move Claude to one of your 4 ranged marches and then run Julian as a support in your 5th infantry march, so you can take advantage of both HP cuts. And run, like, say, like a Sharon and Claude for your 4th ranged march, and then a Julian on your 5th march, and then you can run something like a Bodala or a Rosalia to keep them protected, or just have something in front of them that's fairly cheap, that you can get for fairly cheap through TC Roulette in front of them. But that would be much better, because then you could take full advantage of the HP cut layering and multiplying, basically, the multiplicativity. I cannot talk today with big words, but yeah, basically just the multiplying effect of having multiple of them stack against each other in a multiplying manner. And actually, what's up? Oh, I can't get one today. You already had one this week. You remember, you only get 1 Happy Meal per week. I can't be buying you a Happy Meal every day, dude. It's not good for you. It's a little reward that you can have. We're getting ice cream later this week, though. Don't worry. 15 mil views, and only 190 comments. Yeah, no, it's kind of disgusting, right? But yes, I would put Claude in your 4th march behind Sharon. Sharon would have an HP cut. Claude would have an HP cut. But Julian as a support in your 5th infantry march, and then he brings an HP cut. But what I was going to say is I'm actually in the middle of developing an HP cut, or sorry, not an HP cut, but a debuff. A debuff and support, debuff / utility march setup, the importance of it, how it works, why it works, performance impacts, what you should do, hero pairs, all those things, all in a video, and I'm actively working on it right now as we speak. I started working on it over the weekend. In the community Discord, we basically discussed that was one of the topics that people would like to see, because we get a lot of consistent questions in the community Discord of how we should pair debuff marches, when you should focus on them, why you should focus on them, when they become important for you in your account development to focus on them, things like that. And so it's going to be easier for me to just kind of cover that instead of talking about it every day there. So then at least we have something to reference as that question comes up. So since that question came up here, I just wanted to kind of reinforce that I should have that out here in the next couple of days. Hey, what is better for a low spender? 1, build 5 squads of the same type, or 2, or build 2 squads rally garrison each. 2, what is better to buy? White parts or car parts level 25? Sorry for the long comms. 1, you're probably not ever going to get to level 25 all car parts as a low spender, because in terms of a max garage, I hate to be that guy, but there's only, in the whole game, 28 people with a max garage. Now, there is a difference between max garage and like level 25 and actual max garage, but even then, you only have like 50 players in the game. Actually, let's just draw the line like right here, like 60 players in the whole game that have that. So I don't want to discourage you, but it's a very unrealistic thing to go for. But as a bigger question, would I rather focus on parts or would I focus on garage? I would say focus on garage in terms of spending, because you get so many parts from just like events and just like passive type things and passive rewards and stuff like that. You get a lot of material choice crates and these types of things all the time. You get a lot of these things. So if you're focusing your spending, I would focus on going into a District Showdown alliance that has 4 packs or more, and then use that to then get the crates and target garage leveling. That would just be the best way to basically use your low spend on something that's going to net you the best results. I used to watch Hutch and Shroud all the time. Hutch is funny as fuck, and recently saw a clip of him calling someone a cheater and he was shooting a shadow. Oh no, I haven't seen that one. I'll have to actually look that up now that you mentioned it. Yeah, I watch Hutch all the time. I've loved watching them. Used to watch Shroud back in his PUBG area. Oh yeah, I used to watch him in the PUBG time as well. Fun fact, I actually went to a PUBG tournament with my roommate at the time. We actually competed in a PUBG tournament here in Utah. What was that? 8 years ago? 9 years ago? Wadu heck. Wadu heck. Do you know if there's info about what percentage of DLS players use PC? Because I see a lot of unused optimization potential on PC. There's literally no keyboard interaction. I have no idea, unfortunately, Chexy. You could check like the Steam charts since it's out on Steam to see the Steam player counts, but that doesn't account for just the Windows executable or the Windows version that they have that's outside of Steam. So it wouldn't account for all of them. Although I know a lot of people using PC around my friends in DLS. Yeah, I mean, there's people that use it for like the farming online, and that also doesn't account for like emulator users like Moo Player, LD Player. What's the other one? Anyways, yeah, it doesn't account for emulator players either. So like Sophie Cedric, Isabella Aaron, Spectre Ethan, Sharon Claude, Rosalia, or Bedalia Julian. Sophie Cedric, solid. Isabella Aaron, super solid. Spectre Ethan, solid. Sharon, yeah, that's exactly what I do, Sean. I saw a number of people in my recent AR running Armored Titan Beast plus Pango. Do you see that often? Armored Titan Beast plus Pango. Not necessarily. I don't really see what the synergy is there. Armored Titan gets combo by default. Pango for support, you has to use a crit. Whereas Armored Titan does combo and combo damage. So unless your chips are specifically oriented for it, you're not going to have a high crit rate on this. Or a high proc rate on this. So I don't necessarily see why they would. Yeah, I don't necessarily... I can't say that I see the reason why you would, unfortunately. BlueStacks, yes, BlueStacks. Sandboxy plus farms equals a lot of time saved. Yep, that as well. Do I still play PUBG? Actually, funny enough, I would say no to that. But quite literally, I'm not shitting you on this. Quite literally, yesterday, I re-downloaded it because I came into Discord with a bunch of my IRL buddies. There was like 12 of them in there. And like 6 of them were playing PUBG out of nowhere. They started playing Fortnite again like 3 days ago. And I think we recognize that we're like 30 years old now and we're unks. And we can't compete with like 12-year-olds playing Fortnite. So I think they moved really quickly to PUBG. That'll probably last 8 hours, and then we'll move on to something else. I've been playing Battlefield 6 again recently. I'm waiting for War Dogs to come out, and I will be playing that heavy when it does. I will actually probably be posting a lot of content about War Dogs when it comes out. I will be streaming that a lot. I'll probably have a lot of YouTube video clips of it and stuff. I am adamantly excited for that game. I have not been that excited and had that much fun on a game on any platform for many, many years now. And I enjoyed the shit out of that game. It is built on an Arma 3 mod called King of the Hill, and I used to play that a bunch. I have 1,522 hours in Arma 3, and that was the game mode that I used to play only on Arma 3, was King of the Hill. I really miss the Battle Royale era. I agree. I liked it. I didn't get much into the COD Battle Royale with Warzone, but I did play a lot of PUBG. I played some Apex Legends, not nearly as much. But PUBG for sure. I didn't really get into Fortnite at all. What are some of the other Battle Royales? I feel like everybody and their sisters had a Battle Royale. I did enjoy the Battlefield Redline one, I think is what it's called. Their Battle Royale. I did enjoy that for a bit. Okay, that's what I thought. Like 4 people were using them when I was confused. Yeah, no, I'm just as confused as you. You'd have to ask one of them for the logic behind that. I don't see it immediately, unfortunately. Yet another person has subscribed. Now we're 4,455, up from 4,450 when we started. And that notification has not fired off yet again. So to whoever subscribed on YouTube, I appreciate you. Thank you. I appreciate the support. I am sorry that YouTube is not telling me that you're subscribing. I won't be able to play War Dogs on console. Closest thing I'll get to that is Arma Reforger or Insurgency Sandstorm. I did play some Reforger as well, but I like the modern combat of Arma 3 as opposed to... What era is it for Reforger? Isn't it like World War II or something like that? Or is it the Vietnam War? I can't remember which one Reforger is based off of. I did play Insurgency. I liked Insurgency. I liked Squad as well. But yeah, King of the Hill and Arma 3 just took up so much of my time for a long time. Is it Red Sack? Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, I played the Battlefield one for a bit with my buddies too as well. I love Battlefield. I've always liked flying little birds in Battlefield. That was always my favorite back in like the Battlefield 3. Was it Battlefield 3 or Battlefield 4 that had the little bird? I think it was Battlefield 3. Yeah, anyways. Middle East. Oh, yeah, okay. There you go. I did play some Arma Reforger. I definitely don't have as many hours on. Let me check actually on Steam. Arma Reforger. Yeah, I have less than 100 hours on Arma Reforger, but I have 1,500 on Arma 3. I played a ton of Arma 2 because we used to play the DayZ mod. And then when DayZ came out standalone, I played a lot of that. I actually have almost 2,000 hours on DayZ. What other games have we played a lot of? I'm trying to go down the list here. Helldivers 2 we played for a while. I enjoyed Hunt Showdown. Insurgency, yep, that was there. Squad, PUBG. What else do I have in here? Shit, man, I've even played a lot of like War Thunder and what's that tanks one? Not like Call of Tanks, I can't remember what it's called. World of Tanks or whatever. Played that. I like a lot of RTS games like StarCraft, Age of Empires, Age of Mythology, like the old ones way back in the day. If you know, you know. I've played a lot of Ark, Rust. I don't know, man. My bag goes kind of deep when it comes to games. Like I'll play anything really. Cold War. There you go. Thank you. That's what it was. That's what I was trying to think of. I was gonna say because it's like modernized combat, but not like super modern. I know that it was like back a little bit. But yeah, anyways, I'm excited for War Dogs. That should be a fun one. I was actually playing that with Baguette. If you're familiar with Baguette from the live stream chats, he's in our alliance now, but he's also very, 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 very active in the community Discord. I was playing with him. I was also playing with Vanity, who is one of the R4s in Loon that plays on Tandav's account as well. All three of us were playing War Dogs all weekend together, and yeah, man, holy shit, I just had a lot of fun on that, not gonna lie. I would be open to playing that with stream viewers and people from the stream and stuff like that as well too. Just making content on that would be a lot of fun. Well, guys, y'all have been hanging out with me for about 2 hours. Any other questions or anything y'all want to talk about? I know that I don't get to stream that long, but life is just super busy right now between work, kids starting kindergarten, after-school curriculars, those types of things. So any chance that I get to come on here with you guys, I'm happy to. Pause, by the way. War Thunder and World of Tanks are probably two of the most ads for a game I've ever seen. Yeah, they definitely spend a lot of marketing. There's a lot of MTXs in those games as well. It was just one of those games that I actually really used to just like to chill out and vibe to for a while. Like, you know, you could just jump in, fight, play a game or two, play, you know, 2 or 3 games, whatever have you, and just, you know, go about your day. You didn't have to like full commit like World of Warcraft, for example, and commit to like a 2-hour raid or a 3-hour raid, whatever. You didn't have to try to hit certain, like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that before I log off in Ark or whatever. You could just jump in and jump out. So what infantry garrison would you recommend for horde defense? I think I use Cassius Stella. Cassius Boyd is fine too for like raw sustain. If you have a pretty good garrison armament set and all that kind of stuff, Cassius Stella works pretty good on the anti-swarm. I got back into Sid. Oh, Civ, nice, okay. I forgot how long a single game lasts. Yeah, we used to play Civ quite a bit on our Discord as well, between the few of us on there that would play it. I don't know if anyone remembers this, but there was a game that came out that I actually used to play heavy back in the day. It was called Battle Forge. I think it was an EA game. Who made it? It didn't last all too long, but I loved that game. Battle Forge producer. No, Battle Forge developer. Who was it? Yeah, it was EA. Okay, yeah. That game was a lot of fun. It was like a RTS strategy game that was built around cards, and you would like capture these buildings that would generate you a resource, and then you would have to have a certain amount of resources to spawn certain cards, which would be your troops and your spills and your buildings and all that kind of stuff. And it was just a lot of fun. It was like a PvE game that had some PvP to it if you wanted to, but it was like they had like maps and like scenarios that you go through, and you'd team up with like anywhere from like a solo map to like 12 people. And it was just, yeah, it was really cool. Holy shit, No Mercy actually knows. No way. If you actually know what it is and you didn't just Google it. Yeah, I used to play the shit out of Battle Forge. That was probably one of the first games I ever had my dad spend money on for me when I was younger. That and old school RuneScape. Old school RuneScape, World of Warcraft subscription, and Battle Forge points were the things I had my dad spend money on when I was growing up. Z would love one day something like a community ARC server or something in that genre of games for the Doomsday people to play together. Yeah, no, I full disclosure, okay? Full disclosure. I am looking to sell my house and move in the next year or so to another state. And because of that, I'm trying to get a lot of my priorities in life together and stuff. And one of the things that I'm actively realizing is that there is a ceiling when it comes to Doomsday. Okay, I've been doing Twitch, I've done YouTube, not as a full-time job or anything like that, but as a hobby. I've done it for, I'll be 31 next month, for almost 15 years. I started when I was like 16 years old in the early days of Twitch. Dude, like I'm so old that I remember the Hauppauge HD PVR, the what was that freaking capture card that you would get for the yellow, white, and red cords? A Dazzle recorder. I remember like that was like the one thing I wanted my dad to get me when I was a teenager, so I can record and edit and publish Call of Duty 4 montages and Modern Warfare 2 montages and stuff. And then by the time Modern Warfare 2 came out, you upgraded to the blue, red, and green cords in your TV, so you had to get an HD PVR to actually make HD videos. And that was the next thing I had my dad get me for my birthday the next year. And I've been doing editing and all that kind of stuff and been in the YouTube and the Twitch scene again for almost 15 years now. And I understand when there is a ceiling or a cap on, hey, you grew this much within this community, but because the game only has X amount of viewers and X amount of players, you know, you kind of hit a ceiling. And we're kind of at that ceiling point for Doomsday. And if I do want to make this like anything, any kind of like a serious manner where like, hey, I could genuinely do this in my free time and it's actually like worth it from like a monetary standpoint, I do kind of need to expand it a bit. So you've probably seen the new images being created and the Discord and the new resources and the new, if you're like a member or a Twitch subscriber, like there's like the custom emojis and the icons and all those things. And it's all more towards the Knowledge Syndicate side of things. And that's because I want to make the channel more of this Knowledge Syndicate channel, where it's based around strategy and, you know, deep diving into not just Doomsday but games as a whole. And I would like to make guides for like other games and deep dive into it and just have fun and just to be able to maintain that like nerd aspect side of things that like I have and I enjoy anyways, but be able to flex it into other communities as well and actually just grow a raw community here. Because while I love Doomsday, I know, you know, I'm not ignorant to the fact that Doomsday won't be around forever, right? And I enjoy what I do. You know, I used to do this pretty heavy back in like high school and after high school, and then of course I got busy with life and just having to adult. But I do enjoy it. You know, I do enjoy the video editing aspect. If you've seen the channel trailer that I have on my channel, making videos like that is really, really fun to me. So I would like to make things like that for other games and for other genres and that kind of a thing. And it may not be for everybody here. But for some of you it is, and maybe we can get other eyes on the channel and a part of the community and maybe introduce Doomsday to them, do that way, you know? So Yeah, that's why I kind of want to flex into things like War Dogs or just things like that, where I can genuinely enjoy gaming at its core again, but still be able to flex what I enjoy doing with like the content creation and stuff. Because as much as I love Doomsday, like there's too much time between events, from like a content creator standpoint. From an actual consumer standpoint and playing the game, you don't want too many, like too frequent of events, because you run out of resources, you run out of speed ups. You know, it's more hurtful for the game than it is beneficial in its current state. But from like a content creator standpoint, I don't really have much that I can make content on for the game, right? And as somebody that likes to deep dive into things, there's only so many things that I can talk about. You know, I'm not someone that believes in tier lists, because I believe that certain heroes are higher up in importance for certain players based on the current state of their game, or the current state of their account, or their play style, or their budget. You know, there's all these other factors. So a blanket tier list just isn't something that I enjoy doing or would ever have any interest in doing. Unless it's for something like devices, where I can create a tier list for roles, like role-based tier lists. So I don't know. It's just trying to figure out kind of what's next for the channel, and that kind of a thing. So hopefully I don't, you know, upset people or push people away. I hope people kind of understand where I'm coming from, that I just still genuinely want to enjoy doing this, but do it without having to feel like I'm forcing content, if that makes sense. Because I'm not someone that likes to force content or just publish a video to publish a video for views or subscribers or whatever. Like, I like to push content that's actually has quality and meaning, or, you know, like heart behind it, if that makes sense. Heard a lot of complaints about the fog in AR, and you and Baguette said that you had a workaround strategy to make it work in your favor. Mind sharing for others? I talked to Baguette about it and realized how much strategy can be used now surrounding the 8 and the scab times. Yeah, so specifically for the Fog of War, we saw the primary benefit of it come to fruition during scabs. It took us a while to kind of maybe understand the Fog of War and try to figure out how we could utilize it, because you have to kind of organize a legion to not only like understand it yourself, but operate and lead a legion in that strategic mindset that you're kind of in. So you really do need to have an R5 that wants to do that. And so what I ended up doing is we created strategy around how we could use the Fog of War. So I'll give you one example. What we noticed is that in the Fog of War, we were gold. Crimson is on the other side, so we're at the northwestern gate 6. They're at the northeastern gate 6, fighting for the for the chainsaw scabs. And what would end up happening is, just like you saw in a lot of ARs before, we would push them to their checkpoint, and then because of the short spawn timers, they would start pushing us back and start chasing us. But then the minute that they saw a bunch of us standing there, you know, they would start running too. So it kind of evolved. We would chase them, they would chase us. I would create a strategy to say, hey, let's line up a bunch of fighters waiting for them, so then as the people that are running back run into that mob, they're then running into it, and then we can, you know, push back then. But the problem is that they would have enough reaction time between them seeing us and then us actually trying to engage. So then I evolved that strategy even more to say, okay, hey, we're gonna go expose ourselves to their checkpoint with a few people with fast marches. So then they spot us in the Fog of War. They then send a bunch of people to try to target those marches. They chase after them, and then we have groups of fighters on the north and south part of the line that they'll run through. So they're moving from their checkpoint to our checkpoint, running away from Crimson. Crimson is chasing them, and then around that midpoint line, like right around the helipad is at, in the middle of the map, we had players waiting above them and south of them, just outside of the Fog of War. So then when we saw that they crossed that midline, we assumed that Crimson had then crossed it as well, and then both sides collapsed from it, from both ends, to then cut them off, and they didn't see it coming because we were outside of their view in the Fog of War, and we were able to do flanks and, you know, collapse them, hit them from behind, and they just weren't expecting it. Like, that's the kind of strategy that you can come up and create and, you know, culminate and cultivate in an environment that has things like Fog of War that you don't have or didn't have prior to. Things like that comes from other games. I've played RTS strategy games like Rise of Nations, like StarCraft, where those games have Fog of War in the game, and then you don't actually see the enemy and what they're doing or where their armies are at or that kind of a thing unless you scout it out. And so if you can play around the fog of war to use it as a tactical advantage to create opportunities to flank your opponent or have them not see where you're going or where you're moving, then that's how you can utilize the function itself. But at its core, I still think it's a huge resource cost to the game, and it's very taxing to the client itself that's trying to run on your mobile device or your PC, and also the game servers. And it created a level of instability as well. Like, even my game on PC was crashing quite a few times trying to play in that fog of war. So while there is cool strategic advantages and that kind of a thing, it still had its performance issues. So it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Realize, nah, I'm 10 years older than you. This was in my gaming prime. Oh. OSRS was my whole childhood. Yeah, I started playing OSRS in 5th grade, actually. It was a lot of fun. I didn't mind the fog of war, but that's probably down to me recently adding some speed to all my marches. Yeah, people that have speed on their marches were able to, you know, full-fledged much more take advantage of the fog of war because they could get in, hit somebody, run away, get out of line of sight, hide, come back. Like you were running, you know, you were running around your opponents basically. You were doing laps around them in the fog of war. So. But I think that, again, that also speaks to, like, the layer of depth that we talked about earlier, where it's nice to see them add depth to the game, and we want more of that because it takes something that you're already actively doing and improves your overall experience. Now, the pitfall to it is, again, the performance issues that we're seeing from it. And I think that it's so early that player sentiment is still on the negative side because they just, you know, they see it as, oh, this is another resource. This is another reason why my game lags. This is another reason for my game to crash, you know. So if they had the implementation without the negative parts, it'd be better. And also they're kind of having to fight this uphill battle of a lot of negative player sentiment where because of their continual fast development of microtransactions and other pay to spend or pay to win factors in the game, like these back-to-back collab events, player sentiment is already kind of low. You know, so you're already fighting an uphill battle. So to take player sentiment that's upset about pay to win features and pay to, or just like spending features and stuff like that being released nonstop, and then you introduce something like Fog of War, it doesn't really, it kind of shows like a disconnect between the developers and the community. Because you're kind of saying like, hey, you're making all these complaints, we hear you, but our solution to that doesn't even address any of your complaints at all. It's just us trying to improve other aspects in other areas that nobody is actively complaining about at the moment. So it just seems like a disconnect almost between the developer team and the community at its core, unfortunately. Again, thank you to everybody that has subscribed today, by the way, during this live stream. I know it's only been 2 hours, but there have been a few of you that have. The notifications aren't firing off, and for that I apologize. But I still appreciate you guys doing it. Even for those that are here that are not subscribed, I appreciate you being here. My content is always free. And I will stand by that. Support it or don't. It's there at your disposal. IGG has enough paywalls. I'm not creating a paywall. Not my job. But we're over 2 hours now. Any other last minute questions, comments, thoughts, theory crafting, Doomsday, non-Doomsday related? We'll get this wrapped up if not. Kind of getting to that point of the night anyways. Got to start thinking about some other things I got to go do. Give me another like 10 seconds.
sent flowers for 30 jewels. Hey, appreciate that. Creasick, love you, Z. Yeah, I love you too. Appreciate it, Jelly. Thank you for that. WH. I don't know what WH means. White House? What does WH mean? See, take care. Thank you for everything you do for the community. No, not a problem, man. You don't have to thank me for that. I'm just doing something because I enjoy doing it, and it's you guys that are the ones enjoying it. I appreciate you enjoying the content I push out. I am an open book, and I'm always open to feedback. So if there's anything that I can do to improve your experience or to help you and your experience in the game or with my streams, whatever, let me know. I'm never opposed to feedback. Zebra, I messaged you over the game about my half-cooked pear. Oh, shit balls. Did I miss that? Oh, shoot. I have missed messages. I'm so sorry, guys. Oh, KYC0. Are you still on the stream, KY? I'm so sorry. DLLM for the title. Yeah, my bet's on DLLM. KY, are you still here? You want to just throw a message real quick in the chat? If you are, I'll get this answered for you. I'm so sorry about that. I totally had Steam opened up and not my game, and so I was just looking at the stream chat. Just suggest me my half-cooked hero. Game about my half-cooked pairs. Are you looking for like hero pairings, War God? How many armaments are you running? You're running 1, maybe 2 armament sets, 3 armament sets, maybe. We'll go under the understanding of 2 armament sets. I mean, yeah, this is gonna be your damage pair. I would probably end up running like a Maxwell Claude, even though that's not ideal, because he doesn't have the skills talent tree. You don't really have others that are the skills talent tree that are done. If you're running like raw field, maybe you run a Felix, Chasey, and a Daryl Claude for your 2 marches. And then if you're just running a mobility move speed march, like a single march in AR, I'd probably maybe run a Felix and Daryl. That way you can take advantage of the skills talent tree, but you also get to take advantage of the move speed of both of them. And just use that as a single harass march in AR. But then your 2 field march, I'd probably run Felix, Chasey, Daryl Claude. I wouldn't really field any other armaments. This one's only at 2.3. This one's at 3.3. This one's at 5.2. So there's like a 50% drop off from this to this. Or a 40%, really, 35% drop off from this to this. So it's a pretty significant drop. So I'd wait until you get more heroes done before you go outside of that. So again, Felix, Chasey, Daryl, and Claude for your 2 march setup. Single march AR harass, I'd run a Felix and Maxwell. Sorry, I mistyped things. Yeah, no problem at all. No problem at all. Oh, that was your message. That was the 2 letters. I got you. The WH. Yep, no worries at all. Hero and Beast both. Beast. 8-star, star or gold, 9. So I would probably, with this, I would run a... What do your chips look like? Are they all purples? All purples with a blue one getting built and a gold one. I'd probably pivot away from the golds as soon as possible. The gold isn't going to do you any good because you're not a rally or garrison leader. Unless you are. Maybe you are, and I just don't recognize that. You're just doing gold up there. Anyways, for your field, I would definitely run crit combo for your field, just for the raw outgoing damage. So I'd run your saber with a rhino. But since you don't have that many for support pairs, you could even run like a gold saber plus a purple saber, and then no, I would run saber and rhino together for a crit, and then you do have this done crab, and I would run a crab plus combo. You could run the bull because you do have the physical chips, but I would at some point in time pivot to have like the mimic jellyfish behind them and just run double combo and water chips. But for the time being, this is fine. But yeah, I would run saber and rhino for your second pair, for your 2 pairs. Do you prefer Cassius or Boyd to be the leader on Garrison?
Cassius because he can take advantage of the skill damage bonus from the skillful firepower talent as lead, where Boyd cannot. So Cassius lead will use rage skill, have bonus skill damage for his damage, and Boyd will have damage bonus for his rage skill. Okay, that answers that. Any other last minute questions? Again, I appreciate you guys being here. Thanks a lot, bro. Yeah, no problem at all. Any other last minute questions before we head on out? Let's check a timer here. You guys have... We'll give you till 15. We'll give you 20 seconds. Type fast. Have a good night. Always learn something new in these. Yeah, happy to help, Sean. I appreciate you saying that. That is what they are here for. And that is what I am here for. You guys teach me stuff just as much as I learn, or you guys learn from me. So every day I'm learning something new in this game. So, yeah, no, I appreciate you guys asking these questions because it forces me to ask questions of my own in a lot of cases. And sometimes you guys will ask questions that I haven't been asked before. So, again, I learned something new. So, appreciate you guys bringing these questions. On that note, I'm going to head on out of here, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the stream again. You guys are awesome. Thank you for all the new subscribers, supporters, everything with the channel. It is absolutely ridiculous how crazy this channel is growing because of you guys, and it is all thanks to you guys that is happening. Again, I apologize for my notifications not firing off. I appreciate all the new subscribers during this stream even. You guys know the deal. Go hug somebody. Tell them you love them. Life is short. You don't know when things will change. If you have the opportunity to put a smile on someone's face and tell them that you love them today, I say go do it. I don't think there's anything better that you can do today besides that. So you guys go do that. You guys know the deal. I will